search warrant to go inside the house, but we're not completely certain why they decided to go in today. According to the police chief Walker, he has told us that parents are no longer in the house. The adoptive parents are not currently inside the house. But from what police are doing now, we can't be certain. So for those of you just now joining us, we have a police car in front of the adoptive house, Trezoll and Jacqueline West. Police and FBI agents just walked in, they banged on the door, the front door, and they went through the garage and then over to the house. We're not certain exactly why. We have another car pulling up to investigate.
All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of the shot really quickly because you're seeing just basically, you know, a vacant house over here. But you see the police chief of the California City Police Department behind me right now. Before we went live here, there were several police officers, various agencies that just went into the home again of the adoptive parents whose 2 children were reported missing on December 21st. You see the police chief walking in there right now. Okay, so prior, you guys are going to see this more on our 5 o'clock show, but multiple officers went into the home. They were banging on the door. They said that they were serving a search warrant. And you had a few officers who lifted up the garage right here. You had a few officers who went around the corner this way to get into the home as well. Now, this is not the first search warrant that they've served at this home. There have been 2 other search warrants that they served. One was for the technology of the adoptive parents, which the police chief confirmed with me today involved their cell phones and other various technology. Now we have other authorities here taking photos of the home. They're just coming in as we are, you see this officer right here is holding some kind of tool in his hand. Maybe something to pry open a door or something. All right, guys, so we're not seeing too much out here as many authorities are inside, but this right here on the right side of the home is public property. So I want to take you guys over to the side of the home here. The police chief, he spoke to us just a few hours ago. He said a huge focus that the police department had was in the backyard of this home. You could remember Trezoll West and Jacqueline West, the adoptive parents of these 2 missing kids. Just to remind you guys, a missing 3-year-old, missing 4-year-old, reported missing December 21st. They told authorities that their children were here, essentially in the backyard playing when they suddenly disappeared. And the police chief told me earlier during their investigation, they had multiple tools working in this backyard right here, digging up some of the terrain, working to see if there was any disturbed earth, to see if there were any possibility that the kids were in the backyard. You take that for what it sounds like. And essentially the police chief said nothing came up. The police chief also confirmed with us that there was a canine that was essentially deployed on the first day they went missing on Monday. The police chief said the canine did not leave the house, that the children's scent was only in the house. So now police are back in the home. Now you also see that there is this white van over here that says Bakersfield Police Department. We learned not too long ago that now the Bakersfield Police Department is involved, which means 4 agencies that we know of are working this case. The California City Police Department, the FBI, the Kern County Sheriff's Office, and now Bakersfield Police. I spoke to a neighbor just west of here. He said that the Bakersfield Police Department came to his home a few days ago and took surveillance footage from him that essentially showed some kind of, that basically had something of interest that authorities were looking for. Now, I'm only mentioning the points that were released to me. I'm not trying to extrapolate or speculate anything, but you see for yourself, the authorities are back out here at this house. We know that the adoptive parents are not inside. The police chief told us earlier that he was unsure where the parents were staying at, but that if they needed to contact the parents, they have the ability to do so. Essentially, since the last 7 or 8 days since people have been searching for these kids, these adoptive parents have been interviewed more than one occasion. And from what we were told, I would say just about an hour and a half to 2 hours ago by the police chief, was that there were no named suspects at the time. We're unsure if that's changed. All we know is that there's another search warrant to the parents' home. All we know is that multiple authorities of various agencies have now entered the home. We saw the Bakersfield Police Department or another agency taking photographs of the outside of the home. Now the majority of those authorities are inside investigating. So we are going to try to get as much information going on, as much information as we can, to kind of understand what the circumstances of this next search warrant is. We're also going to try to figure out for you guys whether the adoptive parents, who essentially the police chief said they've interviewed multiple times, whether they've been taken into custody or whether they're formally going to be named as suspects. We understand that the police chief told us that there was people detained, that there was at least one subject detained since the investigation began on December 21st, but he said that they were not kept past their own will. So that person had the option of leaving if they wanted to. Now, this is another important point to mention here. The police chief confirmed with us that the other 4 children of these adoptive parents have been in protective custody since the investigation began. That there are a total of 6 kids, according to authorities. Again, 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Orrin were reported missing December 21st. Those other 4 children of the adoptive parents have been in basically protective custody. So again, we have nothing confirmed of any suspect named at this time. No, formal naming of any suspect or suspects. But what we do know is that this is, multiple times now the authorities have come back to this home. The police chief also told us that, well, I'm seeing some of the comments here saying, oh, how could they not name a suspect? Well, that may have changed. We don't know that yet. That was according to an hour and a half to 2 hours ago, where they told us that they have not formally named a suspect. Of course, we're going to have to wait for the police chief to come back out of the home to basically tell us if that has changed at all. So just to kind of give you a scene from a wider scene of what's going on here. Of course, we have other media here. It looks like we have official vehicle here, one right here. That was a police vehicle that the police chief got out of. You see that Ford up a distance a little bit. Those were some authority vehicles that pulled up. And then here you got the BPD crime scene unit at the scene as well. So we're gonna try to figure out exactly what's happening here. I see that Megan Tripp, you're asking, did they interview other children? We asked the police chief that. He said he was not able to comment. The police chief said that essentially police knocked on every single one of these homes here, and not a single neighbor, he said, to his knowledge, has ever seen Orson or Orrin West since the family moved in here on September. Again, the police chief confirmed with us that authorities knocked on pretty much every door here, spoke to as many neighbors as they can. None of them have said they've ever seen the children here. But it's also important to mention, the police chief said, that They only moved in here on September, that they are new residents here in California City. But what we have to do right now is I have to go back to the car. I have to gather some of our other elements of this story so that we have a story for you at 5 p.m. so we're prepared. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for right now. Of course, if there's any other information that is coming out of this, you will hear it here first. We will be sure to update you. I will come back live on this Facebook page, come live on Facebook if there is any development that you guys should be aware of. Right now I do have to sign off, but we'll update you with more soon. All right, bye.